Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the classroom with Architect Mark. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the last few panels within the default tray, and hopefully, you will get to finish that and move on to other more advanced things inside of SketchUp. So, let's head on over to the classroom and check out what we have for tonight. All right, so I've undocked our default tray, and then we stopped at styles last time, and here's our timer, and then let's begin. So basically, we are done with styles. We have controls for everything here that makes your drawing unique in terms of look and feel when you finish a drawing. And so that's the main idea behind this panel right here. So we'll collapse that and then move on to shadows. Now, shadows are a little bit tricky. Actually, it's not tricky, it's just you need to be aware of everything that is on here to use it properly. And so this is an independent lighting system that is baked within SketchUp, and we can use this to further illustrate how a structure or building will be affected by sunlight. So right now I just made our simple cube here, and then let's just group that together and check out what we have in our shadows panel here. So first we have a toggle to either show or hide shadows. When you click that and it's depressed, as is characterized by this like a dropped shadow over here, denoting that the button is depressed, you immediately see feedback on your screen of shadows that are coming from this direction. Now the next, right beside the toggle, you can see that there are time zones. So you want to be setting this up to match your location, which for us is, what do we have? Philippine Standard Time to UTC. So we are 8 hours ahead of standard. So it's +8 UTC. Right. So as you can see, if it's 1:30 in October, if we just use that, you can see that we don't really get any shadows here, which is uncharacteristic of, we're supposed to have some shadow at least, right? So this is what I mean by it's a little bit tricky. It appears that UTC 8, any day of any month, is not hit by sun. Okay, so what you do is you adjust it, or else we just use in the past, this was something like a GPS where you identify the place, and then you can see there, you place you choose or identify a, a city, and then the sun for that city is simulated in the program. Now, it's important to note that our XYZ here, red X, Y green, and Z blue, also denote north, east, and then west and south. So that's the cardinal directions for us right there. So we need to be uh, aware that when we're changing this, we we can uh, we can place our model with north orientation properly, and then just use the uh, light that is not really intended for the Philippines, because apparently we are not hit by any sunlight at any time, any day, any month. Oh, oh, there we have it. So we have from March to September. We apparently have sun here. This just need a little bit of updating. What happened there? So apparently the sun is too low that we don't really get any feedback from the system. Right. So just know that there is a way to uh, to use the simulation to work for us instead of um, doing it like this, identifying your placement in the globe. It doesn't work as much. So the better option would be to use the cardinal directions and the base. A base or something that actually works with the system. Okay, so we have here toggles for shading, whether the sun hits the ground, and if the edges get shadows and if faces get shadows as well, like that. Can you see? Can you see this face gets darker over time? So that's the feedback that we want. Okay, that's why in other 3D programs it's really easier to just put your own sun in place, because this isn't really uh, a reliable method to use. At least this time based location thing here, it doesn't really work properly. Right. So the after shadows, we have instructor, which basically tells us about whichever tool that we have on hand. So if you choose like another tool, like the eraser, it tells us what happens or what you can do with an eraser tool. So it's an integrated help menu that you can use if you want, but normally you just keep it tucked away neatly right over there. Now layers function basically the same as they do in CAD. We have control for, let's see, do we have other controls here? Apparently not. So we have visibility. Let's create a new layer. Let's call that test. And then let's turn it into green. Some right. So we have test in green and layer 0 in red, which is current because that's where the uh, pencil is. That means anything you draw, like let's create a cylinder right next to the man. So when we draw that, it's by default in layer 0. We can check that in the entity info when we select it. Yep, everything here is layer 0. Now if we move it to test, we can do that like this, right? From that to test, we can isolate that by unclicking, making it current first, and unclicking the layer 0. So this is a method of optimizing your scene if you need to. You can turn layers on and off. Also, when you import from a program or from another CAD program with layers, you see those layers also here. So you have a level of control with it. But basically that's it, visibility. I think this is this. And that's pretty much our layer control here. So you are able to put models into specific layers and then uh, remove them from the scene if you don't need to work with them at that time. Yeah, so that's 12 minutes and we're done with the default tray. So now we're gonna move on to some actual modeling, which I have something prepared to show to you guys next meeting tomorrow. All right? So till then, see you guys and take care. Bye bye.